Evening Asian show. Now, have you seen the new biopic about Elvis yet? Now, the film focuses on the relationship between Elvis Presley and the Colonel, Tom Parker, and has attracted generally positive views. Now, it's been a massive success at the box office, and if you still haven't seen it, you might be interested to learn what an award-winning Elvis tribute act makes of it. Now, Sal Bashir went to see the film this week, and he is live in the studio. Good evening, Sal. Welcome to the show.
Good evening. Good evening to all your listeners as well.
Oh, bless you. Now, look, did you enjoy the film?
There were parts of the film that I did enjoy, but I came away slightly disappointed as a historian on Elvis's legacy and his body of work, and the backstory to some of the incidents that I saw in the film. I thought there was a little bit too much artistic license.
Okay. Which particular elements did you feel there was a bit too much artistic license with?
Well, I think the incident where Elvis was on stage, and in 1973 he was clearly under some medication, and about this time he was out of shape and he was rambling on stage an awful lot, and he's condemned his manager and sacked his manager on stage. That clearly did not happen.
That didn't happen. Yeah, you're right. That's at the end of the film. That didn't happen.
The real story, the backstory to this is that there was a chap called Mario who worked for the Hilton Hotel, whose wife had cancer, and Elvis had visited him at his home, and the Hilton thought he got too pally with this guy, and so the Hilton wasn't too friendly, wasn't too happy about the situation. So they sacked this guy Mario. So Elvis was on stage and he said, look, I think the Hilton is bigger than this. They shouldn't sack this person.
Right. So they've kind of twisted it a little bit.
So Colonel Parker was in the audience and he was infuriated. So they went backstage and had a massive row. And that culminated into Elvis saying, "You're fired." So Colonel said, "Fine, I'll call a press conference tomorrow." And Elvis fired back by saying, "I'll call a press conference tonight."
Right.
So it didn't happen on stage. And the reason why I feel annoyed about this, because it paints Elvis in a bad picture. It paints Elvis as a nasty piece of work who singled out a person in the audience who happened to be his manager. And berated him publicly.
But I think also we can see what the Colonel was like. That kind of like that mad maniac kind of like grab of like Elvis's life that he had during his life as well. So I think that really did come across in the film as well, in terms of that negative portrayal of the Colonel as well.
There's a lot of negative portrayal, but nobody's that bad. There's a lot of good things. I mean, look, I'm not a great fan of Colonel Parker. I honestly think that after 1973, after he frittered away Elvis's back catalogue, which was an absolute crime for about $3 or $4 million, he should have gone. And a guy called Jerry Weintraub, who was an up-and-coming promoter, should have taken over the reins of responsibility with Elvis and steered him in a different direction.
Now, look, in terms of Austin Butler's portrayal of the singer...
Amazing. I will say this, the film is worth watching because of him. The young man has done an awful lot of research. His choreographer deserves a medal. His look, the way that Austin Butler would look down and then look up and have a smirk and a grin. His moves, his frame, the image of him in one particular situation, which is the comeback special in the film, is unbelievable. The recreation, the attention to detail on the 68 comeback special, the black leather, was amazing. Austin Butler, for me, sold the film. 10 out of 10, first class performance.
At the tail end, when it's the last, it's kind of one of the last songs that Elvis has performed. And you see Austin Butler, and then he morphs into real Elvis, isn't he?
Unchained Melody.
That's incredibly moving, isn't it?
It is. I'm glad they showed Elvis as a very slim man for most of his life, because he was. It was just in the last few years that his weight fluctuated, and Elvis was very, very ill towards the end of his life. But, here's another situation involving Colonel Parker, because this is supposed to be this story between Elvis and Colonel Parker. I'm not quite sure whose eyes this film is seen through, but I have my suspicions. But Colonel Parker implored, he stressed with Elvis personally, take a break, step back, You need a rest, I'll give you a rest.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Elvis said no, he wanted to work.
Right,
so what's Colonel Parker meant to do? His client wants to work.
Yeah,
and
that is.
He got Elvis more and more work.
Yeah,
but Elvis felt a responsibility to the families of the band members, to the entourage, to the Memphis Mafia. So that's one thing that's is not portrayed in the film.
Did you like how the movie kind of portrayed the kind of the American civil rights kind of movement?
Yes.
And I thought that was really positive because Elvis has had a lot of stick for that, hasn't he? But let's face it, he was one of the first mainstream singers to have all black vocal singers in the background. You know, he was instrumental in that as well.
Elvis had black singers up on stage. He had them right from a very early age. He's openly admitted that his early influences in the way he moved, and the way he felt the music came from black music. But also one has to remember that he got a lot of influences from country and western music, and that's not really touched upon in the movie that
that's
much.
A good point.
But he was a great admirer of B.B. King. He met him a few times. He loved the work of Little Richard, and Elvis had a sound so different that he morphed all these styles into something that couldn't be controlled. He came across as something very, very unique. We all have to be influenced somewhere,
by someone,
but he was influenced a lot by black music.
So talking about influences, so I mean, I'm assuming you grew up listening to Elvis, and so was there anyone else that you listened to?
Yes, I listened to a lot of rock and roll music. I grew up I was born and brought up in Canning Town, East London, and we had a pub across the road which used to blare out music, which was so different from the music you've just been playing on air, which I was really enjoying it because my mother and father, God rest their soul,
exactly.
They used to love all that music. So you brought back some memories when I was in the
happy memories. I hope.
Happy memories, absolutely.
Good,
this music coming from a jukebox from across the road, it gave me my first taste of rock and roll music. Roy Orbison, Buddy Holly, Beatles, Ricky Nelson, Eddie Cochran, the fantastic, legendary Gene Vincent. You know, and then I started to mimic these people in the way of the voice, because as you can clearly see, I do not look like Elvis. I don't look like any of the rock and roll artists.
You've got the hair going on there. May I just compliment you on your hair? The hair is definitely going on there.
However, these influences stayed with me, and I always wanted to perform on stage. I was never comfortable being in the audience, clapping and cheering people up on stage. I wanted to be on stage. I was that selfish in my mind that I wanted to be a singer. So these legendary artists and groups were a massive influenced on me as a child growing up in the late 60s.
And was that, I mean, in terms of your peers, was this the kind of music that they were listening to, and your peers being kind of like your Asian peers? Was this they weren't listening to this music, were they? Because I'm thinking I was listening to like soul at that stage and some of the classic Bollywood.
Well, I go back a bit further than you. I'm not going to give away my age.
No, I don't think that much further. I don't think that much further.
I have worn my anti-wrinkle cream here today. When I was growing up, it was... I suppose you could say we were coming into the flower power and the glam rock, you know, the Sweet, the Rubettes, the Osmonds, Alvin Stardust, and a couple of other groups and singers as well. They were listening to those. And then the punk era came along, and then you had the Sex Pistols, then you had the Clash, and you had the Damned. That happened. Then you had the new wave with Duran Duran, Depeche Mode, and Spandau Ballet. You had that come down, Culture Club. Although I appreciated a lot of that music, I remained just devoted to rock and roll music.
To your rock and roll music.
And my peers were saying, why are you listening to this rubbish? Why are you listening to this? And then later on, as I grew older, they became educated. They started listening to it. And I was like, you see, the cream always rises to the top.
It does. Sal, what I really like is you know, for you, it's all about the music. It is about the music. It's about the legacy. It's about the man, etc.
Yes.
So, and you take your, your act really seriously, and you do. I mean, I've listened to the videos and things. You really do sound like him as well. You know, what do you feel? I mean, there are lots of Elvis kind of like tribute acts. You know, there's the sequins, the capes, and things like that. You know, I mean, I guess there is a market for that as well, isn't there?
I think in like Elvis said, in show business, there's room for everybody. I've never ever said that I've got the best voice. I've never ever said that I've got the best act. I leave the opinion up to the great British public. If they think I'm good, then I'm very, very happy. If I remind them of some of the vocal magic that Elvis left behind, then I'm very, very happy with that. I've never been up my own nose. I've always kept my feet on the ground, because tomorrow, Allah could take it all away from me. As fast as it came, it could go. I always try and help people. I always try to assist if I possibly can, and give some advice. I enjoy what I do on stage, but we have fun because I'm a tribute. I'm not an impersonator. An impersonator goes the whole way with the voice, the look, everything else,
the scarves, the everything.
And there's nothing wrong in that, because you're advertising yourself as an impersonator. A tribute uses the primary, in my opinion, the primary for me as a tribute is the voice.
Of course.
I try and concentrate as much as I can, and I practice every single day. And the person that I listen to is Elvis. If I'm doing an Elvis tribute, I listen to Elvis. If I'm doing a tribute to Roy Orbison, it's Roy Orbison, Eddie Cochran, Gene Vincent, and so on and so forth.
Difficult question. What's your most favourite Elvis track?
It's very that's a loaded question. I like a lot of the rare songs. As I said, I'm a real historian when it comes to Elvis's great body of music. I do like a lot of the rare songs, but if I was to lay it down, I think my favourite ballad of Elvis's would be "It's Now or Never," because I had everything in it. And my favourite rock and roll song of all time is "A Big Hunk of Love." Okay.
My favourite track would have to be "If I Can Dream." I love that.
Well, you talk about the civil rights movement. And this was a song that was written specifically for the TV special. And Elvis was very moved. And you could see the power.
The way he sung that.
The way he sung it.
Oh, the power in those lyrics as well. And in his voice, just everything. And I'm so pleased that they showed that as part of the film as well. And honestly, I was moved to tears, absolutely moved to tears. It was so powerful, wasn't it? I think one of the fabulous thing about the new Elvis film is it's going to open up his music to a whole new audience as well, isn't it? A whole new audience of youngsters.
I do really hope so. As I said, those elements in the film that I did enjoy, would I recommend people go and see it? Yes, go ahead and see it. I am one person. I have an opinion, and I come forward with I grew up reading the books like the controversial Elvis What Happened, which was released just a few days before Elvis died, which was written by the Memphis Mafia, the bodyguards. It's controversial because it was written in anger to start with. I've read many books like Elvis and Me by Priscilla Presley, the Memphis Mafia in their own words. And in those books, there's a lot of stuff that obviously was before this film, which doesn't relate to what I saw. And the reason why this is all important is because here we have the biggest selling pop artist of all times, the single most important pop icon in recorded history. Elvis Aaron Presley remains the best-selling artist ever. You don't have to sensationalize the man's story, because the backstory is so sensational as it is, that if you just did a real, truthful film to the man, it's going to be mind-blowing. As I've said before, it's the greatest story that's yet to be told.
Sal, have you ever been to Graceland?
Yes, I went in 2004. And no, I didn't wear a jumpsuit.
You got the fridge magnet. Have you got the fridge magnet and that? You must have been tempted to get like a fridge magnet and that.
I bought some jackets and clothes and bits and pieces. I went to the house, which is a beautiful home. There's a difference between a house and a home. And Elvis's house was a home. You could see it was lived in. And it has an air of serenity about the whole
that's
place.
Nice.
You feel comfortable, you feel at ease, and you go to the grave and you realise that this man, was... I know it sounds really strange, but this man actually existed. There was only one other person that could come anywhere near Elvis's popularity and perhaps was a bit more famous in the third world countries. That's Muhammad Ali. Yet Muhammad Ali speaks of Elvis in a fan-like fashion, and
absolutely.
it shows you how big Elvis was.
Absolutely.
So I mean, I would say to people, go to the house, go to the graveside, pay your respects, see the gold records. And that's another thing, these gold records that Elvis has got, it's amazing. It's amazing that one man has achieved so very
much. Yeah, I mean, the greatest selling artist of all time. Period. Full stop.
He's also the most impersonated as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, with varying degrees of quality.
I think what was amazing was just the amount of merchandise that there was. The merchandise that started then. When he was massive. Singer sewing machines. Like the sewing machines and things.
Yeah,
you forget all of this, don't you?
America has adverts every 5 minutes, and it just ruins the program.
Yeah.
I think George Harrison went on record saying, "I can't stand American programs because it's just interrupted every 5 seconds."
I think there is so much love for Elvis. Certainly, you like the 1960s Bollywood film Shami Kapoor. He was known as the Elvis, wasn't he?
That's
Elvis,
right, yeah.
Because of his brooding good looks, his kind of like his hair, his dance moves, etc. So there is an awful lot of love, for Elvis, definitely.
Yeah.
Have you seen a surge in bookings, since the film has come out?
Yes, I have seen numbers rise at the shows, and I've also seen a lot of emails have come through to me and text messages asking me if I've seen the movie. But up until just a few days ago, I was really, really busy touring and doing my own show. So I finally got to see it the other day, which. As I said before, it's still the greatest story yet to be told as far as I'm concerned.
What do your children make of what you do?
My boys and my family are listening. Hi, family. They're wonderful. They're very supportive.
Good.
They know that their dad does a slightly different type of profession.
Different job. But a job that he loves.
It is. I'm very lucky.
Yeah.
I am very, very lucky to be out there performing something I truly believe in. I don't do it because I possibly could do it. I do it because I want to do it.
Yeah, of course.
And there will come a time when I'm not able to do it and I'm going to have to stop.
Yeah.
But with me, I try and put my own spin on things. I try and bring my own charisma and personality, if I've got some, into the Elvis act.
You have. Now, look, lastly, are you going to be out on the road? Tell me about some of the up-and-coming gigs, and where can people hear about you and book you?
Okay, well, they can go to my Facebook channel, which is Sal Bashir, or they can go to my YouTube channel, which is Rocker Sal. There are a couple of interesting and very important dates coming up in my diary. One of them is the English Elvis Experience, which is going to be held on between the 28th and 30th of October at the Crown Plaza in Gatwick. So they can just Google English Elvis Experience and that'll take them straight to the website. I'm also performing with my first live band, which I haven't actually announced on Facebook or anything like that just yet, to do with my other show, which is the Rocker Sal Show, which is a tribute to the Beatles, Buddy Holly, Roy Orbison, Elvis. That's going to be at the GER Club in March, which is in Cambridgeshire. Details are on my website, which is www.rockersal.co.uk.
Brilliant.
And also I'm going to be at the 100 Club in central London in December.
Fantastic.
The 100 Club. So there's a couple of points.
There's a couple of things there, guys. There's a couple of things there.
Come
Look,
say hello.
thank you so much for joining us. Mutual love of Elvis. So look, thank you so much for joining us in the studio.
Thank you very much for
take
having
care.
me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.